it was just too much for him.
No.
He's coming up on us speedily.
Do you know anybody? So they said to go to my son. So my son had I was just able to do it. They had a room in the first floor. He ended up there. We had a whole Shabbos there, Daven there, we sat.
Hey, how are you? It looks good. I didn't download it yet. I'm going to send it to him shortly. So thank you very much. Yeah. I look at it. It's good.
What are you doing here? He goes into my driveway with a posse, like 5 his son, the whole thing. I said, what are you doing here? He was during the August. The first words, how do you Yankees down?
Right, yeah.
I said, I don't know, I don't follow sports. So I said, what are you doing here? He goes, don't rate me. So he said to his wife, you don't speak English, huh? How about don't rate me?
Right. That works.
Suddenly he spoke English.
Well, that's universal language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And among a few other things.
Yeah.
Music and some other things.
Right. Look, what's going on? I see you're going low key for the last few weeks. I see.
What do you mean?
You're going low key.
I don't know what that means.
Usually I feel more of you. You're just going low key, which is good. Everybody needs
Good
some.
morning, Rabbi.
Morning.
Local talk.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, it's good.
A little lower. Lower.
Here in Dubai, they grabbed a
Yeah, it's terrible.
Lubavitch guy.
And?
Rabbi. That feeds right into Rabbi Weinberger's thing. Everybody wants to run and give the Ishmaelites money.
We're lucky and spoiled over here.
Mm-hmm.
Very. Don't worry, it's coming to a theater near you.
It sounds positive.
On that note.
Yeah. Let's talk about those feelings.
I was just telling my wife about this story. Like, it just shows their determination and their will and their practical capabilities. But they want to hunt down every last Jew to the end of the world, no matter where he is. This guy's an easy target. He's in Dubai, but that's their
Yeah,
design.
they did it to the guy in India.
Every last Jew they want to kill. It's an unbelievable thing. It's clear.
You already see that they haven't given up. I'm saying.
But I'm saying, okay, attacking Israel, it's Israel. You can like have the back of your mind, like, okay, I'm in New York. They want to kill every single last Jew. It's clear.
It just has now come to the surface. This is an excuse. The politics is an excuse, but the youth is being re-educated. These 19-year-old people are being educated, if you look in the background, by these 30, 40-year-old people who know better and are Arabists. Like they said at Columbia, 13 of the professors are Arabists supported by Arab money.
Okay, this stuff doesn't excite me too much. I'll tell you what excites me though. I'll tell you what excites me is that it's not. I don't want to play down any tragedy because you can. It's a tragedy, but we have to be able to see all perspectives. Tragedy is a tragedy. It's sad. Mourn, do mitzvahs for the soul, give tzedakah, 100%. But if it's only this one, it could happen to thousands upon thousands.
Oh, for sure.
So if it's not, we have to be very thankful that it's not. And these are unfortunate little wake-up calls. We don't want any bigger ones. But this is just child's play for them. It could be anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
It's like a joke. So we have to be very thankful that but truly thankful. We worked on Hodah last week. It's a real Hodah is needed. Like to think about it. Okay. On that note, what? All Hanukkahs be tough, there's no question. Okay, so let's continue. So we've been on page 209, 210. We're in the sugi of the proper attitude. This is the third difference between the Bab Bitachon and the non-Bab Bitachon in their reactions and how they go about their lives, specifically in the area of money, we've been discussing. And when things happen to a person's money and to his job and to all these different types of things. So in 209, we started the third difference, and we're trying to get into this the past 2 weeks, and we have been getting into it, and it's been getting into us, is that a person is only allowed to rely on one thing at a time fully. And we want that to be a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And that takes time, that takes effort, that takes focus, that takes education, that takes tefillah, all the ancillary, all the types of avodas to get that bitachon into our head, into our heart, and to really truly make it a one reliance life, that we rely only on the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And we were discussing last week, or we were discussing 2 weeks ago. I'm just gonna paraphrase what we've been up to. That a person who, even though he deals with life, he puts effort into life, he puts time, and he puts focus, he puts his hands into life. We have to remember where his heart is always at all times. Right? The head and the heart have to always be with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. That we have to see ourselves as messengers that were sent into this world. We were messengers that were sent with certain capabilities, certain kochos, physical kochos, mental kochos, kochos hanefesh, all different types of strengths that we have, all different attributes that we have. We're shluchim for our families. We're shluchim for our friends. We're messengers of all types from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. We have to remember that. We're messengers of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Don't forget about the messenger, the Meshalech. And from that, a person is supposed to live his life. And specifically, we spoke about getting a job. Based on the attributes that I was given. Chai Olam Natav was a Kadosh Baruch Hu implanted within all of us certain strengths and weaknesses, and put us in certain places in life, and we have to use that to go find the parnasa. Right? That's the way we're supposed to go with it. But never to get lost in the paycheck. Never to get lost in the paycheck. To get a paycheck, important. But the focus still, always, forever, as much as possible, has to be on the fact that a Kadosh Baruch Hu sent us here, and we have to do our best in this situation. That doesn't mean our best work to make the biggest paycheck. It means that we're being tested in all types of areas. That's life. Life is that we have to work, we have to do our mitzvahs, we have to keep our midos, we have to work on our shmiras, all different types of shmiras, shmiras anayim, shmiras machshava, shmiras abrus, all those different things, all different areas. Our emunas, our bitachons, our ahavas, our years, our dvekas. There's a lot to do every day. And we're supposed to take all that into work. Now, one of the biggest problems, and we've never really said this out loud, but one of the biggest problems is that since we never really worked on all these sugyas, we have very little to go into work with. If a person only has, he learned for a little bit, so what does he have? He has some Shnai Mikra, he has a little, some Mishnai, some Gemara, some Halacha, and then you throw him into work where he's supposed to be tested in his big lot of areas. So what does he have to be tested in? Like, which block Gemara am I being Mekayim right now with this job? That's not really so practical. But if a person has more tools, he has Amunah, he has Bitachon, Ahavas Hashem, Yiras Hashem, Dveigivs Hashem, Mesiras Nefesh, Kedusha, Midos, and we can list all the Midos. There's so much. Every single moment is really a test. Every reaction we have in life is a test. Every moment you breathe. You could breathe. Kol neshima v'neshima tahalaka. Every breath could be a praise to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be actively, consciously thinking about that every second. That would be very difficult. But we have to put that into our system at some point. So the more we learn these sugyas, and bitachon is one of the most overarching sugya because a lot of things fit inside of it, we now understand when we go to work what our tests may be. What is the Chovas Rebbe speaking about? We go to work to get tested. What's he talking about? I don't think we ever really honed in on this Nakuda. Right? What does he mean we're tested? We did discuss it a little bit. But we have to think about this. We have to really keep this at the forefront because we're learning the Sefer, and he's telling us we're going to get tested. Now, we're defining testing as all the inyanim I just mentioned. All these things, midos, how we react to the boss how we react at the water cooler, how we deal with the social with the people, how we deal with the money coming in, with the money going, all the different stuff. But how we react not in dollars and cents, in our avoda. Right? But what happens when we get to work? All that's thrown out the window, most often. And we just, again, we're in it. Focus, clear focus on the dollar, cents, this deal, this paycheck, this month, promotions. Yes or no? For most often, we have to get this more into our head, into our heart. We have to become a little bit more cognizant. Not 0 to 100. That's not possible. That's not good. But we have to start bringing these ideas in. Even to have on your desk, I'm being tested by Hashem right now. Even that, then that at least triggers you. Oh, there's Emunah, there's Bitachon, there's Midos, there's how I'm reacting, there's all that stuff. We need to get triggered somehow to get ourselves into that understanding, correct? I think so. It's very hard. Going to work is not an easy thing. There's so much. And that's upon everything else that you have in your heads from the second you wake up with everything else. It's overload city.
Right, and it adds more stress. And yet we're supposed to have Emunah and be calm. But when you see all the things the rabbi just said, it's adding more things you got to watch out for.
Good. So if you have bitachon, then everything can stay calm. You can work on everything in a calm way. Right? That's what true bitachon is. It doesn't matter what you're working on. It doesn't matter if it's business, it's avodas Hashem. It's always supposed to be with a proper balance of effort, putting your efforts in whatever area, whether again it's parnasa or whether it's emunah, and then having the bitachon, the calm tranquility to believe that a Kadosh Baruch Hu is guiding you and putting you exactly where you are, and wherever I am, I'm great, and I'm going to continue going further. That's it.
There's such a chazal that says increase in knowledge or something, increase in worry.
We discussed that. But that's if you're increasing your knowledge without a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Yosef Das, Yosef Machov. If you are a human being and you're using your Das and you're not using every moment with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, yeah, it could be painful. But if you use it with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, if your Das is Das Hashem, now we're in a good place. Of course, we're human beings, and as hard as we work, we always can get a little bit stressed out. That's okay. That's part of every Seder has to have Seder. Any order you make, every sequence, every process you make has to have in it some room for non-Seder, non-sequence. There has to be. Otherwise, you're going to go crazy. They're going through mistakes. That's okay. A mistake is not a failure. A mistake is, oh, okay, let me just try this again. Different one. Shivel Yipol Tzaddik. People have to look at them as mistakes, not as failures. And we've discussed this. It's only a failure is when you make a mistake and you don't want to get back up again. Now you're a failure. That was your choice. A mistake is part of life. Who doesn't make a mistake in any area? There's no such person. Ain't tzaddik. There's no tzaddik who doesn't sin. Sin doesn't mean it doesn't be egregious sin like we can imagine. He does, and his madrega. He does. Okay. So we need to start getting into the bitachon mindset all day long. Bitachon opens us up, right? Trusting Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who's guiding our day. He's the one. If we believe and we trust that a Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who's ultimately, truly the one who's sending us the parnasa, and of course we have to do our shtalas, we don't have to be hyper focused. We discuss this. We don't have to be hyper focused always on the dollars and the cents and always the bottom line, the black lines, the red lines, the ups and the downs. We don't have to be hyper focused. We can open ourselves up to what's really going on, which is the avodas Hashem, the testing. Of course, you have to try your best. For a person to go to work and say, "I'm not going to think about work. I'm just going to think about my avodas Hashem." That's Geneva. Can't do that either. Kadosh Baruch Hu wants you to use your brain and your kochos in whatever job it is, because that's what He gave you the kochos for. Right? So we have to use it, but it doesn't mean we're supposed to become hyper focused and obsessed and fanatical over that. Right? Let's be well balanced within a whole system. You can only be balanced if you take your head out of the bottom line and you bring it up to the top line, which is Kadosh Baruch Hu. Once you get sunken down into the bottom lines, now you're in a muddy world, which very often looks bad. Because then that you could start looking at 5 years from now, 10 years from now. If you're looking at the bottom line, when's the bottom line? Is it this month? Is it a year from now? Is it 10 years from now? How far do you get stuck in that place? Are we going to start worrying about the sun going out in a billion years? Like, how far do we go with that? There's no answer to it. And each person's system is built differently, and some people are going to go crazy. Some people will be okay. But either way, there's a better mahalach. Mahalach is always to stick to the top line, which is the Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who's been running this world for 5,785 years. He's doing a pretty good job. Yeah, people have kashas once in a while. There's kashas. But besides those questions, the world is still gone, right? People, these bomb kashas. But Lamaisa, the world is still gone on. We're still here. There are big questions. Okay, you're allowed to have a question and still move on. People, I have a question. I can't do this. I can't write film today. I have a question. I can't do it. Okay, I'm sorry for you. Because people have bigger questions than you, and they still put on tefillin. And they still put on tefillin. And they will still continue to put on tefillin. Kodesh Baruch has a good track record. So if we keep focus on that as our major focus, and everything is just a subcategory, so then we can live life properly, and we can open ourselves up to bigger sugyas of life, where the real simcha is, where the real menuchas and nefesh is, where the real yishuv edas is. All the things that we want, we can have. But if you're hyper-focused on one thing, the money, the bottom, then you can't, you can't deal with everything else. So if you're relying on one HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then you can live with the Baal Bitachon. But if you start relying on HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the job, that's where the problem comes in. And your life is the proof's in the pudding, as they say, right? Your life is a proof to that. What are you thinking about? If you're always worried and always anxious and always nervous, you're also going to live 100. You could live 120 years like that, but it's not so fun. It's not going to be so fun. But we have to take to heart what the Chavos is teaching us, Shaar Habitachon, and really, really think about it and let it into our systems and chazer over. Once a week is not really enough. The person has to listen to the shiurim again, maybe read the sefer itself, think about it at the office. There's a lot of other things that people are doing during work. This is something you could add. That would be a good thing to do. I'm not telling you about to steal time from his boss, but if anyway you're doing some narishkeit, this is probably a better narishkeit, if I could say. So we're on page 209. Let's just read on the English side very quickly. So the third difference: while a person who relies on God also involves himself in various means of obtaining his livelihood and other needs, of course he does his ishtadlus. He doesn't rely on them, nor does he expect them to either benefit him or cause him harm unless God wills it to be. You have to let that line to let it settle in. Nor does he expect them to either benefit him. You have to go to a job. The Baal Bitachon doesn't mean we're there yet. You have to go to a job which you think is what a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants from you to do, based on your kochos and nefesh, your abilities, and the understanding with trust is somehow HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to provide for you, your family, through this, maybe not through this, it's not clear. You have to drop any expectations that this is going to benefit you. Why are you there? You're there because this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me, and he wants to test you in all those areas we discussed. Not necessarily to give you the parnasa, even though, if you look at the world, 99% of the time, that's the way it does come. But it's not always, and therefore you can't rely on that. That's the point. It's a very difficult thing to do, is to put your efforts into something, but yet actually not rely on it to be the thing that provides for you. See, right? How do you do that? That sounds very difficult. I'm going to go to work. I've trained for this. I'm on the phones. I'm doing paperwork. I have to take an accounting. There's an accountant. There's a finance guy. There's numbers. But yet, with all that, and if there are mistakes, I have to try to fix them. And if the company's going down, I do have to try to get it to go better. Right? With all that, he's telling us, but you can't expect that they're going to benefit you or cause harm unless a Kadosh Baruch Hu wills it to be. But how do you get that? How do you really get that into your head?
You're saying it'll benefit you because you passed the test, but it's not based on just the bottom line of money, is what you're saying.
It's not because, and it's lav dafka, it's anything to do with what you're doing. The Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who decides. But I'm putting all my efforts into this thing. So maybe a suggestion. This is part of a bigger bitachon, as we've been learning, is not just a small little avoda. It's a life avoda. But if a person would put his efforts, now he's putting his efforts into parnasa, he's got to do that. He has to. But if a person would put a serious amount of effort, and that could be mindfulness, into the real boss, into Kadosh Baruch Hu, so then maybe we'd be able to not see everything that we're doing as being the bottom lines. We could see that the big boss is the one who really gives us. Because if we only see the dollars and cents, we're going to get lost in the dollars and cents. But if the tachlis of life is more than that, it's madrigas of amun, it's madrigas of bitachon, madrigas of midos, how calm you stay when things don't go your way, all these things, and I'm doing that because my ultimate job, my ultimate shlichus is not in finance or being a doctor, although these are good things, it helps the world. My ultimate job is to be a shlich Hashem. Your name is your job. Whatever your name is. Lots of good names here. Your name is your job. Because your name is a revelation of your neshama. The neshama has all the DNA, the code that the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants for you to produce in this world. So if we continue, if we just do our hishtadlus of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, or more hishtadlus, not only, more hishtadlus, deeper hishtadlus, not just learning more Blat Gemara, that's also good. But really having a connection with our Emunah, really thinking about Bitachon, thinking about a Kadosh Baruch Hu, speaking to him, having conversation with him. How do you work for somebody you don't speak to him ever? So I daven 3 times a day. If you would talk to your boss like we daven, I'm not saying you. If I would talk to my boss like I daven, I get fired. Yes or no? No, because he thinks I daven well.
Not
right?
at all. As a matter of fact, he may respect you.
If a person would come to you and he would start saying, he would have a book, and he would start saying he has a, I don't know, what do you do? You're a doctor?
Me?
I'm joking. You collect rent. See, right? You collect rent, right? So one of the... Yeah, money. And he would start reading off a page, and he would start saying, the second difference when a person relies on his God is soul, and heart and needs respect to all God's creatures. You'd be like, what? What did you just say? I couldn't hear you.
That's his
And if he would do it again, it is his problem. Exactly, it's his problem. And he's not going to get what he's looking for from you. Right?
The way you say it.
We understand.
Yeah.
We understand. Everybody else is wrong because you know how he davens. See, but I'll go upon him. Right? If we put more effort into the real boss, and that's the whole perspective change. We've been learning about this for 20, 30 years. But unless you do it, it ain't going to work. It's very simple. We can talk about it from today till tomorrow. But unless you do it, it ain't going to work. Right? Guy says he's stressing about this, did you do the bitachon thing? No. I'm so stressed at work. I know. I understand. You got to do the thing. Thinking, davening, going through the 7 conditions, working it through. We have brains. And if you can go to work, this was, I think this was Eliyahu Navi gave this Musar. Yeah, Eliyahu Navi gave this Musar. I don't remember where I saw it. Maybe it was in Talmud Eliyahu. He was talking to somebody. Maybe I mentioned this before years ago. It's so good. He was talking to some Pasha Yid, and he was asking him, so how's your davening? How's your learning going? I think it was more learning. It's like I don't learn. I can't learn. I don't really have the head for it. So he says, okay. So he says, so what do you do during the day? So he says, I'm a fisherman. I'm a fisherman. So he says, he's nodding his head. So he says, how do you catch the fish? He's like, I have nets. You have nets? How do you show me? How do you do that? So he takes this big rope, all this thick stuff, and he starts making these very complicated knots. Extremely complicated. Anybody who's ever tried to tie these fisherman knots, it's beyond complicated. It's not just like our double little knot, or like our Ziploc bags we do for our kids. It's complicated, the whole thing. And Eliyahu Navi's watching, this guy's like fast. He's doing it. Eliyahu Navi says to him, if you have the brains for those knots, then you have the brains for learning Torah. That's what he said.
You have to put in there, also, he went into the time. I know when the star goes out and it comes to this end.
Oh, I don't know that part. Oh, you're saying with the fish.
Right,
okay, very good.
This you understand.
Right. Yeah. So people have brains to be able to go to work and do all the things you've done for all these years. We also have the brains to be working on these sugyas. And we have to be thinking. We're thinking. My point was that we're thinking people. We're not superficial people. We're people of abilities. We just have to utilize those abilities. We have to stop using just the 10% of the brain and go and you start using more, the 10, the 20, the 30, the 40. The more of the brain that we have. We have to expand ourselves. We pigeonhole ourselves into like 3 areas of life. It's just like, the parnasa, the bottom line. Did you do the daf yomi, which is a good thing, and did I pay for my kids' tuition? It's like that's okay. There's a few things in between, gas prices and stuff. we can become so more expansive, so much more expansive. Like, we can let our minds free. We're pushing in a jail. We're in a jail. We drove around the same 10 things our whole life, just again around and around and around and around and around. A little bit better, a little bit worse, just around the same thing. Expand ourselves. You can only expand yourself if you I don't know what the word is, something. You get out of detox, but defocus from the lower bosses of life. And we start to think about the bigger boss, but in a real way, not in like a 5-second, thank you Hashem, Hudu Hashem, and you throw up. For real. It's just not going to work unless you do it like that. A little bit it will, and that's good. But you want to make big changes, you got to make big changes. That was good, right? You want to make big changes, you have to make big changes. That's how it goes in life.
I was just speaking to somebody recently, and they're reminding me of all the other mitzvahs, whether it's Yom Zuzah, or whether it's a Misa, or whether it's whatever. There are lots of things to work on to ultimately.
But in a positive and healthy and happy way.
Sure.
Not from stress.
Sure.
I'm nervous about you.
No, I'm saying when it comes to the rabbi was talking about only focusing on the emunah, sugyas, and everything like that. But if you're working for the boss, there are a lot of sugyas that we don't appreciate that will have an effect on the bottom line.
But these are the yisodos, the chavos avos in general, right? Not just Shaar Habitachon. We discussed this, that people get hyper-focused on Shaar Habitachon and they miss the building blocks, actually, to Shaar Habitachon. Shaar Yichud, Shaar Avodas Elokim, Shaar Bechina, Shaar Avodas Elokim, and then Shaar Habitachon. Like, we're jumping in the middle, really the middle of the sugya, like middle of the shear. Can't really get it. Right? The bigger sugyas are really, you have Emunah, you have Avodas Hashem, Shaar Bechina is to see a Kodesh Baruch in this world, as we've discussed. To jump just into Shaar Habitachon, it's going to be difficult. You'll get a little bit from it, right? Any tool that is a good tool, you can use it a little bit, but if you don't know how to actually use it to its best ability, so then you're only going to get 20%. And you're going to live your whole life thinking, oh, I maxed out on it. Read the instructions. If you read the instructions, there's so much more. Nah, I don't do instructions. I'm a guy. I'll figure it out. Okay. There's a Yiddish line that my mother-in-law used to always say to my wife, and I can't even probably say it. You sleep in the bed you make. I can't say it. Well, I don't know if anybody knows it. You sleep in the bed you make. That's how it is. You know it? Yeah. So you're like, okay, Akupana. And this all goes back really, really finely onto what we rely on. Are we relying only on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or are we relying on so many other things? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu too, of course. Right? The only way you can rely on something is if you deal with it, you think about it, you speak, you have conversations, right? Think. How you can just rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It just happens? Yeah, because we're maminim, b'nei maminim, yeah? Maybe, but you're not a Bal Bitachon b'nei Bal Bitchonim or whatever, and you're not a Davuk b'nei Devukim. You're a Mammon. We're Jews. We believe. But that only gets you so far. There's many madregas of Emunah too. There's many madregas of Bitachon, many madregas of Dveikus. Al Kein Yazov Ishas Avives Im of a Davak Beishto. We spoke of this. Davak Dveikus Beishto. That just happens? Do you even know what that word what it even means, Dveikus Beishto? We have to think. Take some time. Thinking is expensive, I know. We don't have time to think because we have so many other things to do that we have to make the money for. Because again, we're hyper-focused on the same thing. It's just this rabbit hole or whatever the line is. Just go back in the same thing again and again. Correct? That's why we have no time because we're still thinking about the same bottom line. This is only to order in a positive way. This is not any way musar to bring anybody down. Chas v'shalom. And Agav, Musar is not supposed to bring a person down either. It's supposed to actually excite a person and make a person more powerful and strong and happy. But something happened along the way, in parentheses. Anyway. Okay. So page 209 still. On the bottom, let's go. He says, if he benefits from the means that he's engaged in. So now, the Bal Bitachon, he's doing what he has to do. So Kadosh Baruch Hu wants him to be in this position. And now, it works. If he benefits, or they protect him from harm. So he did the actual ishtadlus on the ground, and it worked. Right? You go to work thinking at least, right? You're not just going to go do some crazy thing. It has to be with a cheshbon that this could be the way that Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to send you the money. Maybe it's not, but it has to be at least maybe it will be. So he does it, and it comes out that the money came in. Now, how do we look at that? So if you're a bottom line guy and you're working with the little bosses of life, oh, look at this. My efforts worked out. I did this thing that made the money, or this guy who helped me with the money, thank you, or this, all my patients that come, Baruch Hashem, I have all these patients, and the insurance companies, Gewalt. Amazing. Maybe I should put more hours. I can make more money, right? Doesn't be great. Then you've lost your mind. Because the Iker mind is supposed to be, right, what we're talking about, and so I'm relying on a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So I'm here because the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants me to be here. Who sent me all this patience, all this money? The Kadosh Baruch Hu sent it to me. So anytime I make the Muskul Rishon, as we've been discussing, the first thought is right up top. Up, not down. Not reinvest my dividends into more time, into more patience, into sending them flowers and gifts and chocolates. Maybe you can do that also, maybe. But first is the recognition that the Borei Olam was the one who did it. But a real recognition. Not like, thanks for that one, and then like right back down. No, really stay up there for a while. Because if you really relied on the one, and you really did, so you'd hang out there a little bit longer. Because the proof's in the pudding. If you say thank you Hashem, and then you go right back down to the bottom, then you're just a liar to yourself. You don't really believe he's the one. You're not really relying on him. Okay, you might be relying on him also. But you're for sure also relying on a lot of other things. Haraya, where's your focus? Where's your reliance? Where's your dveikus? You can't deny it. You can't fake it. You are what you are. Nobody else knows really what you're thinking. You can say thank you Hashem, and in your head you're like, how am I going to make the next deal? We don't. And each person's on his own here. This is dveikus. This is between you and a Kadosh Baruch Hu. You have to remember that. And a person wants to really change his life, change his, stuff. It's in the pneumius. It's not in the chitonis. Chitonis is fake. Chitonis is only as real as where your pneumius is. If your head and your heart are in one place and your hands are in another place, you are where your head and your heart are. Not where your hands are. So we could fake life all day. We could fake ourselves. We could trick ourselves. We could be a Lovan. Lovan was the head honcho of this. We get into the thing of Lovan. He thought he was the biggest tzaddik. We all, who are reading the story, know he's the biggest Russia. We know his motivations, which is about money. We know everything. But he thought he was a big tzaddik. He says to Yaakov, as he leaves, how could you hurt me? I've been so good to you. So that's what Lavan says to Yaakov. I've been so good to you. How could you do this to me? You stole my heart. Pasukim, next week's parsha. Lavan, you crazy person. Yaakov finally loses it a little bit on Lavan at the end. You would want to just throw the person in the garbage can. Like, you don't have to do with this person. But we do this ourselves. We do it ourselves. Because, again, in this world of Asiya, unless you've trained yourself, or a person is Zocha naturally, whatever we do is how we define ourselves. That's why when you ask a person, what do you do? He tells you what parnasa he is. He said, that's the question. That's the answer to that question. What do you do? Now, most people are asking from that place of what do you do, meaning parnasa. That's how people speak. Is that the definition? Is that how it's supposed to be? I don't think it should be. Even if you're doing a holy thing, there's still something higher than what you're doing. So you work for. So, just trying to really dig into this sugi over here, this mini sugi within a mini sugi within a bigger bitachon. What is your reliance? What do you really rely on? And it proofs in the pudding. So if you make money or it works out, where do you now spend your time? Do you now spend a few? Now it doesn't have to be. It's not about kamas either. It's really about eichas, right? It's about eichas. You don't have to spend 4 hours now davening by the kaisel, but you need 4 hours of sincerity. Could be you don't have 4 hours. It could be, but where's the heart? Where is it really? Only you know. No one else knows. Is it really a heartfelt? So if he benefits from the means that he's engaged in, or they protect him from harm, he will thank God alone for it. Because that's really, if the Baal Bitachon is really relying on the Kadosh Baruch Hu only. He will not increase his love and affection for them, the modes of Hishtadlus. So I'm going to love it more because what did it do? It is also a Shliach Hashem. My only love and my affection should only grow for Kadosh Baruch Hu, the one who runs everything. I still could be cordial. I still could have proper midos and ethics with the lower level boss. Of course, you have to. That's part of midos. But our love, our affection, more dveikis, only to Kadosh Baruch Hu. If you become more dovek to your job, you're in trouble. Right? It might not be right now, but you're going to end up in trouble at some point, somehow. Because you start to rely on it. If you rely on it, you don't rely on God. And you're going to be now in a world of teva. Nor will his mind be more at rest because of them. These are high madrigas. Because I made the money, Baruch Hashem, now I can relax. The Shaar Habitachon was always in a certain level relaxed because he was always relying on the same one as before. Nothing really changed. If it does come in, of course, we're human beings, we recognize it, but again, I'm relaxed a little bit now more because you revealed to me a little bit more of your chesed. At least use the lashonos in your mind and your mouth. Don't get, now I can pay the bills. That's true on a bottom line level. It's true. But if we could change the way we do our hishtadlus, the way we do our speaking. Kadosh Baruch Hu, thank you for sending me this money. I'm working on my trust for you. Now that I have this money, I can pay the bills that anyway you were always going to take care of. I just didn't know how. Just speak this way. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just speak this way. It becomes part of who you are. It becomes real. Again, we have to start doing, more hishtadlus to the big boss. Not take away hishtadlus from the lower. Do what we have to do. But put more time and effort and focus and hishtadlus in the big boss, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who sends us everything. And then everything will flow down properly. It will flow properly. If you start doing all the stuff down here, so 90% of your focus and energy is on the bottom line, and you should also thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you should, right, he is the one who does everything, right? So 10% of your focus is up there. Again, where are you really going to be in the 90%? Will you get schar for the 10%? Is it a good thing? Of course. But it's not going to change your emotional self and the way of thinking and everything else that we want to make better in our lives. What time is it? It's not working.
48.
So we're good. It's early still. Okay. Let's go weiter. Rather things that we got up to last week, rather he will strengthen his trust in God and rely on him alone and not at all on the means. You want to reinvest your dividends, it's only if you first, you invested, right? Thank you. That was the thing Kadosh Baruch Hu put in my head. Only if you invest in a Kadosh Baruch Hu stock, so then when the money comes in, you can reinvest those dividends back into Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now the dividends doesn't mean the money. The dividends means the emotions, the thanks, all of that, where life really is under the surface, not the superficiality of life, which the one wind can blow it all over. The real life, the conscious life. We want to reinvest all of that back into Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ooh, that's good. You dive into Kadosh Baruch Hu for real. You truly rely on him. And then something happens good. However it came. I don't know. It could have come from your job, somewhere else. I don't know. It comes in, and it hits the heart, or it hits the head. Then you say, wow, Kadosh Baruch Hu, mamish, you answer my tefillas. You answer my tefillas. And then it starts to settle into your heart, and you start to think, wow, Kadosh Baruch Hu, thank you. I really appreciate it. I down for it, and I know I haven't been so amazing, but you're the one who gave it to me. I don't care what everybody else sees or this. It's from you, mamish. And you start to feel good. So by you doing that avoda, what did you just do? You just reinvested yourself into Kadosh Baruch Hu by bringing him into the picture when you're enjoying what you got. Right? Isn't that? You don't need more tefillah. It's not like an extra something from the. Just living life with the Borei Olam. It's just you're reinvesting your dividends into him. No? Again and again and again and again and again. And then even when something doesn't happen that's so good, okay, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I get it. Okay, it's from you. I get it. You must be testing me now. You want to test my emunah. You want to test my bitachon. I understand. Maybe you know what? Maybe I did something that I shouldn't have done last week. Maybe I should do that better. Thank you for reminding me because I did feel bad about reinvesting your dividends. It's called tshuva, no? Sounds good. And then you're happy. And then you don't fall down to the bottom line. You stay in the up and up. From head to the heart, back to the head, to the heart, back. An aliyah, a real aliyah. You want to make aliyah? This is the way to do it. You could also go to Eretz Yisrael. But this is what it is. And if you have bitachon, that trust, which holds your heart up, right? Isn't that what bitachon's doing? It holds you up, doesn't let you fall down in depression and anxiety and worry. It holds you up because your heart is now connected to the Borei Olam, the one who created the world, who creates this moment, the one who loves us, the one who takes care of us better than we even know. And even if we don't do good, he's still taking care of us, right? We're held up. I only want to rely on him. I only focus on him. I thank him. So then you've made aliyah. And your heart will just go to the head and head to the heart, and it will just cycle around in a very happy, positive way. But if you rely on anything else, so then you might have these downs because you're connected to money and you're connected to stuff and you're connected to people's reactions and you're connected to the news. Why would you do that? That's a bad investment. It's a really, really bad investment. No one told us to make those investments. That was our choice. Can't blame anybody else. What do we want to invest? We are the greatest investment in our lives. Invest yourself. Like I say, invest in your kids. Spend time with them. Right? Invest in them. Invest in yourself more than anything else. Make good investments, positive investments, not low-level stuff. Bitachon gives you the strength to do that. Because if you don't bitachon, I don't know, but I'm worried about that thing, so I need to think about that thing. And if you don't have the strength of bitachon, of a Kadosh Baruch Hu on your side, to say, it's going to be okay. Don't worry, Kadosh Baruch Hu wants that also. If you don't have that, then you're going to get sucked into that place. But this is not like a once a week. This is constant thinking. And those who have done it, I've spoken to them, they're doing okay. They're doing really okay at their job. You know, the job means between them and Kadosh Baruch Hu. I don't care about anything. I mean, I care about people's parnasa. We need it. Lamais, we have to live on the ground level, of course. No one's saying not. We do need to pay our bills. But I think everybody understands what we're talking about. Okay, let's go a little weiter. Page 210, second paragraph here. Lo yo'iluhu hasibos. Yeda ki yavo'eu tarpo k'sheyirtza Hashem me'eza inyan sheyirtza. V'lo yimaz ben ba'avur zeh v'lo yaniach l's'asek behem l'avodas haborei. Now we're in the Baal Bitachon reaction now. The next paragraph says, if you're not a Baal Bitachon, if you're a Baal Bitachon, and you've come to this job because the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants you to be at the job because he wants you to actualize yourself and become your best self there. He wants to test you there and to make you a big person. And when the money comes in and you're protected from harm, you only look to him and you thank him, you rely on him. You're at ease, menuchas nefesh, yishuv adas, simcha, because of him only. As much as you can muster. We're humans. As much as you can, putting your efforts into him. So what happens if the money doesn't come in? If the means that he engaged in does not help him, right? All my efforts, right? Where are our hopes and expectations now? This is where the defining moment. Where are we really relying? Where are we really hoping? What are we really expecting? If the means that he engaged in does not help him, then he will understand, Baal Bitachon will understand that his livelihood will reach him when God wills it to come. Remember, Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Bitachon means I trust that a Kadosh Baruch Hu will take care of me in whatever way he sees fit. I don't know how it's going to be. This moment of my life, that this parnas is not working out, does not define everything about my life. The Baal Bitachon says it doesn't define. Because I'm connected to a higher source. The Kadosh Baruch Hu, the one who I work for, and he sends me on many different jobs. I have many different missions. And he'll take care of me as he sees fit. So I don't have to lose myself when this one pipe that I thought, hopefully not, hoped and expected, but reality is when we go into these jobs and we think that this pipeline is going to be my way of parnas to pay my bills, when it doesn't work, he doesn't have to lose himself. Because the Baal Bitachon really is not just connected to that pipe. He's connected to the higher. And in whichever manner he decides, HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides. Right? You have your head and your heart are lifted up because you're connected to the above. You're connected to the 7 conditions of true bitachon. You're connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're connected to his chesed. You're connected to his chesed to the point that he knows more than us and he'll stop us when we want something that's silly and he'll say, no, you can't have that. But I really want it, Tati. Tati says it's not good for you. You have to trust him. 13 pieces of candy is not good for you before bed. You have to trust me on this one, son. Because I want $1 million. I want $13 million. That's all I need. I'm sorry, son. That's a little bit too much. It's not good for you. But I really want. It's not good for you. I want more from you. And there's a better way. He doesn't lose himself when he doesn't have the money. He's able to keep himself up. Bitachon, confidence. Bitachon atzmi. Head, hard, up, up, up. Yes? This is what's going on. He will not reject engaging in them consequently. Person's parnasa goes dry. Look at the lashon of the Chazos. Third line. V'lo yim'as bahen ba'avor zeh. What does yim'as mean? Disgusted. If you relied on this ofen of parnasa, again, because you think that this is what a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants, no. If you went into parnasa because you think it's going to make you money, go that way. And now it doesn't, you become disgusted with it. It didn't do what it's supposed to do. I put all my time and effort into this client, into this job, into this, and it's not happening? Get out of here. That's what happens. But if you went into the parnas, into the job, not because necessarily only of the money, but most of your investment, of your time, your focus, your energy into this parnas was because you believe that Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted you here, because he has a bigger plan for you, and he's the one who takes care of me in whatever way he decides. So when this runs dry, you don't become disgusted with it. This is just part of the test. This is just part of my job. Maybe when you deal with the Kadosh Baruch Hu as the boss, it's not like a regular boss. Companies need to make money. If the company is continually tanking, this is bad. But the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you have no idea what he wants. Maybe Dafka wants it to tank. Maybe he wants to see your emunah. Maybe he wants to see how your midos, how you react when things don't go well. You have no idea. So you don't have to get disgusted by the job with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Doesn't mean, and I'm not getting to this right this second, doesn't mean you can't switch jobs if you need to be. But we're talking about the emotional reaction right now. So we have to separate things in life. We're talking about the emotional reaction that you become disgusted or not disgusted, upset, bothered, angry by this person, this job, whatever it may be.
Shliach.
They're just a shliach of the big boss. And the shliach is the testament in some way. If you decide with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kadosh Baruch Hu, this looks like this parnasa, looks like this thing is just not going well. I don't know if it's ever going to get back up. I'm a human being. You give me life, thank you so much. And I have a family, thank you so much. And I have a car, and I have a lot of things. Kadosh Baruch Hu, I'm with you. You're the big boss. But do you think I should go on a different shlichus right now? It's up to you. At least have that conversation. It's calm. Maybe. Should I speak to a Rebbe about this? I'm going to speak to a Rebbe about this. You gotta have a Rebbe, right? But do the proper processing. Not, oh my gosh, it didn't come in this month. SOS. I got to change my jobs. I got to go to different. The whole sector is going down. What am I going to do? Patients are running dry. Which often happens is the next month. That's okay. So why'd you do that? Why'd you do that for? But if it's really tanking, first of all, with bitachon, you don't wait till the ship is sinking. You're already having this conversation with the Kadosh Baruch Hu before. We spoke with this last week. We spoke with this many times. Don't wait till everything's going SOS. Then, now let's work on our Amunah B'tachon. Well, that's not Amunah B'tachon. It is, but it's a tiny little shmidget. B'tachon is every day. It's every moment. It's relying on the Kadosh Baruch Hu every second. We have to put more. We have to invest ourselves and put more of our focus and our time and our energy and in a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the big boss, in the big job. Not the little job. It looks like it's a big job because in kamas, in time, I'm at this job more. You're also out of your house more. But between your job and your wife, I hope you make the right decision. You choose the wife, right? In kamas and time, I'm with the job 80% more than her. She's the akar sabai. She's eichas. It's quality. So when it comes to our life, we have to stop looking at the quantity. I'm at the job many hours a day and a week. I'm only davening and learning a little bit. We have to start putting more time into that. In eichas. Care about the eichas, not the kamas. No one's telling you, okay, go learn and daven 10 hours a day and only go work 4 hours. I'm not saying that. But make those few hours of your status to the big boss with more eichas, more appreciation, put your sincerity into that more. That's what we're saying. Let's just finish up there and we'll continue with you next week. So he will not reject engaging them consequently, nor will he cease involving himself in them. He won't just chuck the job. It could be he'll work through the process and we need to change jobs, but in a calm, normal way. Because his ultimate goal is the service of his Creator. We have to get out of the world of money talks. If the money's up, I'm happy. If the money's down, I'm not happy. If this is growing dry, I get angry. HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks. We start listening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we start doing that, then the system is built the right way, top down, and then things can flow properly. We're building ourselves. We are a binyan. We have to invest in our binyan. Not just slap together. If you would build a company, we never just slap together pieces like we do it ourselves sometimes. We spend more time in investing in binyan, building of other things than ourselves. We have to build ourselves properly. Hashem will continue.